Hello students, a warm welcome to all of you. Myself Prashant Shekhar, Mathematics faculty at Akash Plus Byju's, presenting you video solutions of Open Online Mock Test. This was a JEE Advanced pattern based paper and this was segregated into two parts, paper 1 and paper 2. So we will be dealing with mathematics section of it. So first of all, let's start with question number 37, which is a single correct type question, and it comes from the house of solution of triangle. Here we are given this information that for a triangle ABC, small b is equal to 2 and delta, which is area of the triangle, is root 3, and b cos a plus root 3b sin a is given as c plus a. Then we have to try and find out this value of s. So first of all, what we can think, this c, which is an alien quantity, because in that equation b and a are there, but c is a single quantity which is present, and moreover we are also not aware of the value of c. So first of all we should try to eliminate that c from this equation. So what we can observe, b cos a plus root 3b sin a. How can we convert this c into small a and small b, or angle a and angle b? So we can think of this projection formula. In place of c, you can put a cos b plus b cos a, and plus a is also there. So what is benefit of this? In both the sides b cos a is present and it gets cancelled. So now on, root 3b sin a is given here. Root 3b sin a is equal to, here in right side it is a into 1 plus cos b, 1 plus cos b. So in place of small b we can put 2r sin b, and in place of small a we can put 2r sin a, which is of course r is circumradius. So root 3 sin b into sin a can be written here as sin a into 1 plus cos b. Now obviously sin a cannot be equal to 0 for any triangle, so sin a gets cancelled simply, and we are left with this sin b upon 1 plus cos b is equal to 1 upon root 3. So sin b upon 1 plus cos b, if we use half angle formula, this sin b can be written as 2 sin b by 2 into cos b by 2, while this cos b can be written as 2 cos square b by 2 minus 1. So this sin b, here I am going with 2 sin b by 2 into cos b by 2, while the denominator will be simply 2 cos square b by 2, which is equal to 1 upon root 3. So what you are left with, tan b by 2 in left hand side, and that is equal to 1 upon root 3. So moving on to the next slide, we can see if tan b by 2 is equal to 1 by root 3, 1 by root 3 is what? Tan pi by 6. So b by 2 can be considered as pi by 6, and that is why b is here equal to pi by 3. So angle b is 60 degree. If angle b is 60 degree, the sum of rest two angles, that is angle a and angle c, that is 120 degree. So I am considering angle a as 60 minus theta and angle c as 60 plus theta, because we can think of any two angles whose sum are equal to 120. So what we are left with, we have still not used the fact that b was equal to 2. In the question it was given that b was equal to 2. So what we can use, b is equal to 2r sin b. Now we are already aware of that angle b is equal to pi by 3. So what is r? R is equal to b upon 2 sin b, which is equal to 2 upon root 3. One thing still we have not used, that is delta. Delta is given to be root 3. So if delta is root 3, delta, which is equal to 2r square sin a into sin b into sin c, that formula was there. In place of a, I can put 60 degree minus theta, sin b is already there, which is sin pi by 3, and sin 60 plus theta is also there for angle c. So delta is root 3, 2r square. In place of r, we can put now 2 by root 3. So which is 4 by 3, or into here root 3 by 2, and sin square 60 degree minus sin square theta. So if we simplify this, what we are getting, this root 3 gets cancelled, and here what we are getting, this sin theta as equal to 0. So sin theta is equal to 0 degree. That is why the angle A, angle B and angle C all are equal to 60 degree. So this way we can prove that this is equilateral triangle. Now moving on to the next section, that is value of S. So for value of S, all the sides are going to be 2 only because it is an equilateral triangle. So S will be equal to A plus B plus C divided by 2, which is simply 2 plus 2 plus 2 divided by 2, and this is equal to 3. So in this case we can go with option A, which is correct and given as 3. Moving on to question number 38, which comes from the house of trigonometry, you can say, or you can say use of AMGM inequality. So here it is given that number of ordered pairs we have to find x n for real numbers with x belongs to 0 to pi by 2, and equation is given as sin x raised to power 2n upon cos x raised to power n square by 2 plus cos x raised to power 2n upon sin x raised to power n square by 2 is equal to sin 2x. So if we apply AMGM inequality on left hand side terms, these two terms are given as sin x raised to power 2n divided by cos x raised to power n square by 2 plus cos x raised to power 2n divided by sin x raised to power n square by 2. You can see that all these quantities are positive. That is why we are simply applying AMGM, because it can be applied to only positive quantities. So these two quantities are there and their AM can be written like this, and for GM on the right hand side it will be sin x into cos x raised to power n minus n square by 4. Now according to the question, the left hand side is given to be sin 2x by 2. In place of numerator we can put sin 2x. So this is sin 2x divided by 2 is greater than or equal to sin x into cos x raised to power n minus n square by 4. Now left hand side is sin x into cos x. Left hand side is sin x into cos x, and in right hand side we are there with sin into cos raised to power n minus n square by 4. Now sin into cos, that is a quantity which will be, the base is less than 1. As we keep on increasing the powers, the value will actually decrease. So n minus n square by 4, n minus n square by 4. What should be the values for this? It should be greater than or equal to 1. So we are left with n square by 4 minus n plus 1, which is less than or equal to 0. So which is n by 2 minus 1 whole square less than or equal to 0, and obviously any square quantity cannot be less than or equal to 0, and that is why it must be equal to 0, and n by 2 must be equal to 1. So n should be equal to 2. So for x and n, now we are aware of the value of n, and this has also been actually attained when we have actually equated the two quantities AM and GM. So for equality of AM and GM, again those two numbers which were involved initially, that are sin x raised to power 2n upon cos x raised to power n square by 2 and cos x raised to power 2n upon sin x raised to power n square by 2, these two quantities must be same, and when they will be same, when x will be equal to pi by 4. So x will be equal to pi by 4 and n should be equal to 2. That is the only possible combination for this question, and for next slide the answer will be 1, which is in option B. Now question number 38 is completed, and we will move on to question number 39, which is again a single correct question, and it comes from indefinite integration. Fx is given to be 2x minus under root 4x square minus x, and you have to integrate dx upon fx. So what we can say, this fx, if we substitute this fx as t and try to remove actually that irrational term, what we can see, this 2x minus under root 4x square minus x, which is actually equal to t in this case, if we put t in the left side and whole square it, this will be equal to 4x square minus x. Now if we actually expand it, this will be equal to 4x square minus 4xt plus t square, which will be equal to 4x square minus x. So 4x square gets cancelled and here we are left with x is equal to t square upon 4t minus 1. Now you should also convert dx into dt. So what will be the expression for dt? Actually simply you have to differentiate both the sides. On left hand side you will be there with dx, and on right hand side what will be the expression? Let's see in next slide. X is equal to t square upon 4t minus 1 was there. So dx can be written as, denominator will be 4t minus 1 whole square. Now numerator will be differentiated at first, t square, in place of t square there will be 2t into 4t minus 1 minus, now numerator will be as it is and denominator will be differentiated, which is equal to 4. So what we are getting, 2t into 4t, that is 8t square, minus 4t square is also there. So this is 4t square minus 2t. So 2t into 2t minus 1 in numerator, and in denominator we are there with 4t minus 1 whole square. So this is your dx in terms of dt. So what was the question? It was dt upon t, and in place of dx you have actually put dt into 2t minus 1 divided by 4t minus 1 whole square. So t gets cancelled and in numerator you are there with 4t minus 2 upon 4t minus 1 whole square. 4t minus 2 upon 4t minus 1 whole square dt. So if you actually simplify it, what you can get? 4t minus 1 upon 4t minus 1 whole square dt minus 1 upon 4t minus 1 whole square dt. Now if you integrate it, what you will get? You will get integration over 1 upon 4t minus 1 minus 1 upon 4t minus 1 whole square. So this will be equal to 1 by 4 ln mod of 4t minus 1, and minus here you will be there with 4t minus 1 raised to power minus 1 upon minus 1 into 4. Now you have to simply put t as fx and you will be there with right option, that is option B. 1 by 4 ln 4 of fx minus 1 and minus 1 upon 4 into 4 fx minus 1. So option number B will be correct. Next, moving on to the question number 40, that is from trigonometry section. P and Q are given and P by Q is equal to 2 root 2 by 7, and we have to find number of possible values of Q in this interval minus 3 pi to 3 pi. So P is given and Q is given. If you try to find P sin theta, this P sin theta is equal to half cos theta sin theta minus 1 by 4 sin 2 theta into sin theta minus 1 by 8 cos 3 theta into sin theta, and so on. Similarly, if you go with Q cos theta, this Q cos theta can be written as cos theta minus half sin theta cos theta minus 1 by 4 cos 2 theta cos theta plus 1 by 8 sin 3 theta cos theta, and so on. So what combinations can be formed with this? Now P sin theta is given, Q cos theta is also given. So what you can do, you should try to add these two, P sin theta plus Q cos theta. What you are getting? This half cos theta sin theta, this thing is getting cancelled. Cos theta is still there. So cos theta will be there, and here what you are getting? Minus 1 by 4 sin 2 theta sin theta and minus 1 by 4 cos 2 theta into cos theta. So if you can actually club these two quantities, this will be sin 2 theta sin theta plus cos 2 theta cos theta, cos A cos B plus sin A sin B, which is a formula for cos A minus B. So this will be equal to cos theta, and now next section will be plus 1 by 8 cos 3 theta sin theta is there, and here it is sin 3 theta cos theta. So it will be equal to cos 3 theta sin theta, and here it is in terms of minus, so sine 2 theta it is written. So what you can see except this cos theta, everything is actually converted into, this thing can be converted into cos theta minus half into p. So p sin theta plus q cos theta is equal to cos theta minus half into p. So p sin theta plus q cos theta is equal to cos theta minus half into p. Similarly, if you go with p cos theta plus q sin theta, so p cos theta plus q sin theta, you can simply try and it can be also converted into minus 2 into q minus 1. These two equations are there. First equation p sin theta plus q cos theta, and second equation p cos theta plus q sin theta. As we have tried to find out equation 1, we can also find out equation 2. What we have to do, we have to simply multiply cos theta into p and sin theta into q, and then we have to add it, and this will get converted into minus 2 into q minus 1. So from the first equation, what we can see, this will be equal to p sin theta plus half, which is 1 plus 2 sin theta, and here you can go with 2q cos theta. P sin theta plus half plus 2q cos theta is equal to 2 cos theta. Now if you multiply second equation by cos theta, what you are getting, p cos square theta, actually I am multiplying with cos theta, so p cos square theta plus q sin theta cos theta is equal to minus 2 q minus 1 into cos theta, q minus 1 into cos theta. Now if we simply subtract it, what we are getting, p cos square theta and p sin 2 theta. Suppose this is equation number 3 and this is equation number 4. If we subtract this fourth equation from third one, what you are getting, p into 1 minus cos square theta, that is sin square theta, plus 2 sin theta is already there, plus 2 sin theta is equal to plus 2q cos theta, and here also 2q cos theta, that will be getting cancelled. 2 cos theta is there, 2 cos theta is there, that will also get cancelled, and q sin theta cos theta, that is in fact minus sin, q sin theta cos theta will be there, is equal to 0. So what will be getting, p by q will be equal to cos theta upon sin theta plus 2, and it has been given as, this p by q in question has been given as 2 root 2 by 7. So this is equal to 2 root 2 by 7. So what is the equation? It is cos theta upon sin theta plus 2, which is equal to 2 root 2 divided by 7. That gives us an equation 7 cos theta minus 2 root 2 sin theta is equal to 4 root 2. So this equation will of course have only two solutions in interval 0 to 2 pi, because it is of type a cos theta plus b sin theta is equal to c. So this will have two solutions, and this minus 3 pi to 3 pi, which is actually an interval of 6 pi. So in 0 to 2 pi, if there are two solutions in this interval of 6 pi, how many solutions will be there? We can say that simply by using unitary method, you can say that it will be 6. So we will go with this option B, which is correct. Now next question is from definite integrals, that is minus 1 to 1 cot inverse 1 upon under root 1 minus x square into cot inverse x upon under root 1 minus x raised to power 2 into mod x dx. In this case, what you can observe, the limits, because it is minus 1 to 1. So if it is of type minus a to a, first of all we are reminded of this property that this minus a to a fx dx can be considered at 0 to a fx plus f of minus x, right? So if we see in this case, this fx is equal to actually cot inverse 1 upon under root 1 minus x square into cot inverse x upon 1 under root 1 minus x square, you can say, raised to power mod x. If we simply try to find out f of minus x, what we have to do? We should simply replace minus x by x. So cot inverse 1 upon under root 1 minus x square will be there. If we put minus x in place of x, there will be no change as power is even, and in the second term it will be cot inverse minus x will be there, but in denominator again there is no change, it is 1 minus x square raised to power mod x. So f of x and f of minus x are already there. So now we have to try and use this property. So what will be it? It will be 0 to 1, f of x is cot inverse 1 upon under root 1 minus x square, cot inverse this term, and plus in f of minus x section you will have cot inverse 1 upon under root 1 minus x square, and the second term will be cot inverse in terms of negative. So next slide, what we can see, 0 to 1 cot inverse under root 1 minus x square. This part is already a common. What are we left with? Cot inverse x upon this term and cot inverse minus x. So cot inverse x upon under root 1 minus x 2 mod x and plus cot inverse minus x will be there and denominator will be same. So cot inverse minus theta, what can we write about this? This cot inverse minus theta can be written as pi minus cot inverse theta. So this gets converted into cot inverse 1 upon under root 1 minus x square. If this is cot inverse p, this is cot inverse minus p. So cot inverse minus p will be equal to pi minus cot inverse p. So the sum of these two quantities should be equal to pi. So I am simply putting a pi for the addition of these two terms. So this will be equal to pi 0 to 1, you can say cot inverse 1 upon under root 1 minus x square, or you can simply put tan inverse under root 1 minus x square dx. So now we have to simply target this integration 0 to 1 tan inverse under root 1 minus x square dx. So this is your integral that we have to find. Now if we put x, like simply using integration by parts, 1 into tan inverse under root 1 minus x square dx. This will be considered as your first function, this will be considered as your second function. So I is equal to pi, x will be there for first function into second function's integration. So second function is 1, so its integration will be x into tan inverse under root 1 minus x square will be there, minus 0 to 1 again first function's differentiation into second function's integration. So first function's differentiation we have to put and second function's integration is already x, and we should now try to differentiate tan inverse under root 1 minus x square. So what it will be? It will be 1 plus 1 minus x square, right? And under root 1 minus x square's differentiation, which is 1 minus x square raised to power minus half into minus 2x. So if we try to put 0 to 1 in this section, if we put 1, this will be getting 0, and if we 0, then this x is getting 0. So the first term will obviously will be equal to 0, and for the second term it will be equal to minus half into half will be also there because of under root 1 minus x square's differentiation, half into 1 minus x square raised to power minus half will be there. So this is the term that we are getting. So this is equal to minus, and this minus will get joined and this will be converted into plus, and x into x will be there, x square in numerator, and in denominator it will be equal to 2 is there, and sorry, 2 is getting cancelled from this 2, and this 2 is also getting cancelled, and denominator we are left with 2 minus x square into under root 1 minus x square will be present from 0 to 1. Now in place of x, what you have to put? Now you have to again integrate, and under root 1 minus x square is there. So you have to try and put x is equal to sine theta. So it will be converted into x 0 to pi by 2. What we are putting? X is equal to sine theta. As this is 0, this theta will be 0, and when x is 1, this theta will be equal to pi by 2. So x square, in place of x square, what we will get? This is sine square theta, and divided by 2 minus sine square theta into under root 1 minus x square into dx. So this under root 1 minus x square will be of course cos theta, and this dx will be again cos theta d theta. So this cos theta thing getting cancelled, and sine square theta upon 2 minus sine square theta is already there. So this will be equal to pi 0 to pi by 2. This thing can be written as 2 by 2 minus sine square theta minus 1. The sine square theta upon 2 minus sine square theta can also be written like this, right? And d theta is already there. So now this minus 1 can easily be integrated, that is obviously pi by 2, and now you have to basically focus on this term 2 upon 2 minus sine square theta. So I am trying to integrate it in the next slide. Pi 0 to pi by 2, 2 upon 2 minus sine square theta d theta minus pi by 2 will be there. Pi by 2 for integration of 1 with limits 0 to pi by 2. So 2 upon 2 minus sine square theta, if we divide this whole term by cos square theta in numerator as well as denominator, you will be getting 0 to pi by 2 as here, and 2 sec square theta upon 2 sec square theta minus tan square theta, which is 2 plus 2 tan square theta minus tan square theta. So this is 2 plus tan square theta d theta minus pi by 2 will be there. Now if we consider this tan theta as t, what you are left with 2 dt upon 2 plus t square. So pi will be there, this 2 will be here, 0 to pi by 2, and this is dt upon 2 plus t square minus pi by 2. So this is 2 into 1 upon root 2 tan inverse t by root 2, right? So here as we have considered tan theta as t, this pi by 2 will also get converted into infinity, and this 0 will be already there. So 2 into 1 by root 2 tan inverse t by root 2, and pi will be there. Here we can go with 0 to infinity minus pi by 2. So what you are getting, this will be now your answer. Little lengthier question it was. 1 by root 2 into 2, this is root 2, and for infinity this will give tan inverse infinity, which is pi by 2, and for 0 it will be equal to 0. So root 2 into pi by 2 minus pi by 2 will be there. So pi square by 2 into root 2 minus 1, we will go with the correct option, that is option number D. So this was a little complicated, little lengthier problem actually, you can say, not that much tricky, but still it was a lengthier problem from definite integration. Now moving on to the next question, that is question number 42. This has been a given question from sequence and series. This is a sequence an with a1 given as 1 by 2 and is defined by an is equal to 2an into an plus 1 plus 3an plus 1 for all n belonging to natural numbers. Bn is given as 1 plus 1 by an for all n belonging to natural numbers. Now we have to find largest integer m such that this summation is greater than m by 24 for all positive integers n greater than or equal to 2. So what we should first focus on, this an is equal to 2an into an plus 1 plus 3an plus 1. If we actually divide the whole expression by an into an plus 1, divide the whole expression by an into an plus 1, what we will get? We will get 1 upon an plus 1 is equal to 2 plus 3 upon an. So 1 upon an plus 1 will be equal to 3 plus 3 by an, which can be converted as 3 into 1 plus 1 by an. 1 upon an plus 1 plus 1, what we can say about this? As we are already aware that bn is equal to 1 plus 1 upon an, so this is your bn plus 1 and this is equal to 3 into bn. That means bn will be following a GP with common ratio 3, because bn plus 1 upon bn, that are two successive terms of a series and they are having this ratio as 3, because here we can say that b2 upon b1 will be 3, similarly b3 upon b2 will be 3, that is why this bn is actually a GP. So what will be the first term for bn? That is b1. What will be the value of B1? What we can say? B1 will be equal to 1 plus 1 upon A1. A1 is half, so B1 will be equal to 3. So first term of this GP will be equal to 3, and that common ratio is already known as 3. So what will be the BK for this expression? BK will be equal to 3 raised to power k for this GP. Now you are aware of this BK thing. Now you should proceed to this summation part. So what will be this? K is equal to 1 to n, 1 upon n plus log base 3. Bk is basically 3 raised to power k is greater than m by 24. So this is 1 upon n plus k. Next slide. Summation 1 upon n plus k. K is basically varying from 1 to n. K is varying from 1 to n is greater than m by 24. Now we have to solve this question, and n it is given that n is greater than or equal to 2. Okay. So what we can observe, if we consider a function like fn that is equal to summation over k equal to 1 to n upon 1 upon n plus k, what this will represent? This will be having terms 1 upon n plus 1, 1 upon n plus 2, right, up to 1 upon 2n, as this k is varying from 1 to n. So first term will be 1 upon n plus 1, second term will be 1 upon n plus 2, third term will be 1 upon n plus 3, and the last term will be 1 upon n plus n, so 1 upon 2n. So fn is this, and if you consider f of n plus 1, what will it will be having? K is equal to 1 to n plus 1, 1 upon n plus 1 plus k. So this will be first term 1 upon n plus 2, second term 1 upon n plus 3, and the last term will be 1 upon n plus 1, and in place of k it will be again n plus 1. So this will be 2n plus 2. So if you try to find out fn plus 1 minus fn, what is this? This is basically 1 upon 2n plus 1 and 2n plus 2. These two terms are not present in the first case. So 1 upon 2n plus 1 plus 1 upon 2n plus 2. These are the terms which are not present in fn, while fn is having 1 upon n plus 1, which is missing in the second case. So minus 1 upon n plus 1. If you try to sum out these two quantities, this will be equal to 1 upon 2n plus 1 minus 1 upon 2n plus 2. 1 upon 2n plus 2 minus 1 upon n plus 1, which is equal to minus 1 upon 2n plus 2. So again you can say that this quantity is positive. So fn is an increasing function, as fn plus 1 minus fn, you can see that this is positive. That is why fn plus 1 minus fn is positive. That means fn is basically increasing function. So if fn is increasing, when it will be having its least value, because we have to try to focus this m by 24, in fact not equal to, it is greater than m by 24. So f2 will be minimum value because it is increasing. So f2 is some value, f3 will be greater than that, f4 will be again greater. So minimum value you will get when n is equal to 2. So f2 is what? F2 is 1 upon n plus k, and k is varying from 1 to 2. So this will be equal to 1 upon, in first case we are putting actually n equal to 2. So 1 upon 2 plus k you can say. So k is equal to 1 to 2. What will be its value? 1 upon 3 plus 1 upon 4, which is equal to 7 by 12. So 7 by 12 is that value, that is minimum, and it must be greater than m by 24. So m can have its value as 13, because when m is equal to 14, these two quantities will be equal, which is not the given case. If equality was present, then m could have been 14. So as it is not there, so m will be maximum 13. Next section consists of 6 questions which are one or more than one type correct, and now it will start with question number 43, and first question from this section is, let px be a quadratic polynomial with real coefficients satisfying x square minus 2x plus 2 and is less than or equal to px and less than or equal to 2x square minus 4x plus 3 for all real numbers x. Let P11 is equal to 181, then we have to try and find out the other values for P10, P5, P20 and P15. So what we are getting the information about Px, what we can say, x square minus 2x plus 2 and 2x square minus 4x plus 3. These two graphs are of quadratic equation. So that quadratic will be having its least value at x equal to 1 because the vertex for this quadratic and this quadratic both are equal to 1. So what you can say about Px, you can say that this x square minus 2x plus 2 will be something like this and 2x square minus 4x plus 3 will be something like this, and both will be having their minimum value at x equal to 1. So obviously P1 will have no choice but to attain the value of these functions which is there at x equal to 1, because P1 anyway lies in between the values of x square minus 2x plus 2 and 2x square minus 4x plus 3. So P1 will be equal to x square minus 2x plus 2 calculated at x equal to 1. So this will be equal to 1 plus 2 minus 2, which is equal to 1. Now one more thing can be also experienced here, that this Px, as it varies in between these two curves, this first and second curve, that means this will also, the quadratic Px will also have its minimum value at x equal to 1 only. So this Px will be of type leading coefficient into, as it will have its minimum value at x equal to 1, this should be x minus 1 whole square plus some constant c. But what we are aware of, that P1 is equal to 1. So as P1 is equal to 1, this C must be equal to 1. So Px is of type A into x minus 1 whole square plus 1. Now you are left with only one variable, that is A. For information of this, we are provided with this P11 is equal to 181. So as P11 is equal to 181, so A into 10 square plus 1, this will be equal to 181. So A will be equal to 180 divided by 100, which is 9 by 5. So now you are having this expression for Px, which is 9 by 5 in place of A, x minus 1 whole square and plus 1 is also there. So what are the options given? We have to find P10, 5, 20 and 15. So one by one we are trying. P5 will be equal to 9 by 5 into 5 minus 1 whole square plus 1, which is equal to 9 by 5 into 4 square, which is 144 by 5, and plus 1 is there, so it will convert into 149 by 5. P10 can also be calculated, 9 by 5 into 9 square plus 1. So 9 into 9 square, which is 729 by 5 plus 1. So this is 734 by 5. P15 can also be calculated, 9 by 5 into 14 square plus 1 will be there. So this can also be calculated, and similarly P20 can also be calculated as 9 by 5 into 19 square plus 1. This way we can simply observe this, that these options A, B and D are going to be correct. Next question again comes from AP, GP, and that is in sequence and series, and the question is given like P plus Q upon 1 minus PQ, Q and Q plus R upon 1 minus QR. These three terms are in AP and PQR are given to be positive. So we have to try and deduce one of these results that are given in option A, B, C and D. So first of all, what we can proceed with, that as these terms are in AP, they will have same common difference. So Q minus P plus Q upon 1 minus PQ will be equal to Q plus R upon 1 minus QR minus Q. So what it will be having after taking LCM, Q minus PQ square minus P minus Q divided by 1 minus PQ will be equal to Q plus R minus Q plus Q square R divided by 1 minus QR. In left hand side Q and Q are getting cancelled, and right hand side also these are getting cancelled. In left hand side minus P is common, Q square plus 1 will be there divided by 1 minus PQ, and in right hand side R is there, 1 plus Q square will be there upon 1 minus QR. Now as 1 plus Q square is never going to be 0, we can simply cut these two. Minus P upon 1 minus PQ is equal to R upon 1 minus QR. If we cross multiply it, what we will be getting? Minus P plus PQR is equal to R minus PQR. So this will be equal to 2PQR is equal to R plus P. 2PQR is equal to R plus P. That means 2PR upon R plus P, this thing can be written as 1 by Q. That means HM of, that is harmonic mean of P and R, is equal to 1 by Q. This suggests that P, 1 by Q and R, these three terms will be in HP, and that is sufficient to tell the option B is also correct, that 1 by P, Q and 1 by R, these three terms will be in AP. Now for the next two parts, what we can say, like in D option also you can observe that QR1 and PQ are in HP. So that thing can also be proven from here. If QR1 and PQ are said to be in HP, that means 2 into QR into PQ divided by QR plus PQ is equal to 1, and that suggests us 2 PR upon P plus R is equal to 1 by Q. We have already proven that P, 1 by Q and R, these three terms will be in HP. So option D is also correct. Now what about option C? Option C is there that PQ plus QR is greater than or equal to 2. So as P, 1 by Q and R, these three terms are in HP. These three terms are in HP. So if we apply AM greater than HM, AM greater than or HM, greater than or equal to HM, then on these two terms P and R, what we will be getting? AM as P plus R by 2 and HM will be equal to, of course, 1 by Q, because these three terms are in HP. That means 1 by Q is HM for P and R. As Q is positive given in the question, so we can simply cross multiply it and we will be getting PQ plus QR is greater than or equal to 2. So option A, B, C, D, all these options are totally correct. Now question number 45, which is from conic section. At a point 1, 1 on an ellipse, equation of tangent is given to be y equal to x. If one of the foci of ellipse is 0, minus 2 and length of major axis is 4 root 10 units, then you have to first of all try to decide how many ellipses are possible, then center of ellipse, length of minor axis and one of the foci of ellipse. So if we draw the diagram, suppose this is your ellipse, this is your foci 0, minus 2 and one of the tangents is given to be y equal to x at point 1, 1. Another focus, suppose it is S dash and this one is represented as S. Suppose this point is P. So PS plus PS dash, what we are known? That PS plus PS dash will be equal to length of major axis. What is the length of major axis? It is given to be 4 root 10. So PS is already there because this both the coordinates of P and S are known. So PS is equal to root 10. So PS is root 10. That means PS dash will be what? PS dash will be equal to 3 root 10. So PS dash is equal to 3 root 10. Right? Now what you can see, using this reflection property, if we take image of S in this y equal to x line, that means we will be getting this point as minus 2, 0, because A, B's reflection in y equal to x will be B, A. So this is minus 2, 0, which will be image of this S. Now I, P and S dash, these 3 points should be actually collinear. That means equation of PS dash, equation for PS dash can also be found by joining these 2 points I and P, which will be equal to y minus 0 1 upon 3 into x plus 2. So this is equal to x minus 3y plus 2 is equal to 0. X minus 3y plus 2 is equal to 0. As now we are known with this PS dash equation, we can also assume this S dash in terms of some parameter. As we put y equal to a, x will be equal to 3a minus 2. So coordinate for this S dash in fact will be considered as 3a minus 2, a. Now this is suppose coordinate for S dash. Now PS dash should be equal to 3 root 10. So now we should try to find out this distance PS dash. So PS dash will be equal to 3a minus 2, a's distance with 1, 1. So it will be equal to under root 3a minus 3 whole square plus a minus 1 whole square is equal to 3 root 10. So this is 10 into a minus 1 whole square is equal to 90, a minus 1 whole square is 9, so a minus 1 will be equal to plus minus 3, a will be equal to 4 or minus 2. If a is 4, then 3a minus 2 will be equal to 10, and if a is minus 2, then 3a minus 2 will be equal to minus 8. So the possibilities for foci is 10, 4 and minus 8, minus 2. Now here comes the tricky part. If you are going with option A because of this 10, 4 and minus 8, minus 2, these two possibilities, then actually these two possibilities are not possible geometrically, because these two focus S and S dash both should lie on the same side of y equal to x. But as you can see, like this equation is x minus y equal to 0. If we put 0 minus 2, we are getting this as positive, and 10 4 we are getting this positive, but minus 8 minus 2, if we put minus 8 in place of x and minus 2 in place of y, we are getting this quantity x minus y as negative. That means 10 4 and 0 minus 2, these two lie on the same side of y equal to x, while the other coordinate minus 8 minus 2 does not lie on the same side. That means it is not possible to have an ellipse which has foci as minus 8 minus 2 and 0 minus 2 and having one of the tangent as y is equal to x, because there will be no tangent in between the foci. So the only possible situation is 10, 4. So now you are aware of S dash, which is equal to 10, 4. S dash is 10, 4. So what are the options now given? Two ellipses are possible. That is wrong, because the minus 8 minus 2 combination will not work. So only one ellipse will be possible, which will be having its foci as 10 0 minus 2 and 10 4. So the A option and D option both are actually wrong. Center for the ellipse. Center for the ellipse is actually midpoint of these two foci, 10 4 and 0 minus 2. So the midpoint will be 5 1. So 5 1 should be the center. That means this option is correct. While length of minor axis, for length of minor axis what we can do? We are already aware of 2a length. So this S dash, what is this? The distance between two foci is actually 2ae. So what is 2ae? 2ae in this case is coming out as under root 10 square plus 6 square, which is under root 136. So 4a square minus b square is actually 136. So a square minus b square is 34. A square minus b square is 34. And what is a? 2a is 4 root 10. So a is 2 root 10. So a square is what? A square is 40. So a square is 40. That suggests us that b square, this b square will be equal to 6. This b square must be equal to 6. If b is root 6, that means that length of minor axis for the ellipse is going to be 2 root 6 units. So options B and C are correct. Next, question number 46, which is again a question from matrices. Let X be a square matrix of order 4 such that 16x raised to power 4 minus 96x raised to power 5 plus 216x square plus 81i is equal to 0 and determinant x is given to be 16. Then which of the following options are true? So what you can see, this 16x raised to power 4 minus 96x cube plus all these things can be written as 2x minus 3i whole raised to power 4. Why I am getting this idea? Because of the options present. 2i minus 3x inverse, these two options are already there. So I am getting this idea of expressing this in terms of 2x minus 3i. Now as 2x raised to power 4 is already present here, 3i raised to power 4 is already present here, and minus plus signs are there. So I am putting 2x minus 3i raised to power 4. If you expand it, what you will be getting? You will be getting 16x raised to power 4 minus 4c1, 2 raised to power 3 and 3 raised to power 1. So it will be equal to 96x cube plus 216x square, and the next term will be minus 4c3, 2 raised to power 1 and 3 raised to power 3. That means 216x plus 81i. This is your 2x minus 3i raised to power 4. That means in the given expression, one thing is actually missing, that is minus 216x. So you can see that 2x minus 3i raised to power 4 is equal to basically 216x. So 2x minus 3i raised to power 4 is equal to 216x. Now if we try to take determinant on the both the sides, what will happen? 2x minus 3i raised to power 4, determinant of 2x minus 3i raised to power 4 is equal to here 216 raised to power 4 into x, because this is a matrix kx, and for determinant of kx, what will happen? It will be equal to k raised to power n into determinant of x. So that is what I have used here in place of 216x. when we will take determinant, 216 raised to power 4 into determinant of x will be present. So 2x minus 3i raised to power 4, this determinant is going to be equal to 216 raised to power 4 into 16. Now you can also see this is 6 cube raised to power 4. So 6 raised to power 12 into x, which is 2 raised to power 4. So determinant of 2x minus 3i, that you can observe, this is 6 cube in fact into 2. So this will be equal to 432. 2x minus 3i, its determinant will be equal to 432. Now what you have to obtain actually? You have to find 2i minus 3x inverse. How we will get this? If we simply multiply x inverse in both the sides, that means 2x inverse, and here 2x minus 3i will be equal to 432 into determinant of x inverse. So here we will get x inverse when multiplied with x, this will be 2i minus 3x inverse, this will be equal to 432 into what will be the value for determinant of x inverse, as determinant of x is 16, determinant of x inverse will be 1 by 16, so this is 27. So 2i minus 3x inverse, this determinant is equal to 27. Now determinant, what we have to find? We don't have to find this determinant of 2i minus 3x inverse, we have to find determinant of its adjoint. So suppose this is your determinant b, which was equal to 27. Now what you have to find according to the options? Determinant of adjoint b. So determinant of adjoint b, that is equal to determinant of b raised to power n minus 1, where n is order of that matrix. So this will be equal to 27 raised to power 3, which is equal to 3 raised to power 9. And in first option it is given as 3 raised to power 6, though it will not be correct. Next, with option B, what is given? So this is your wrong, and adjoint of adjoint x is given to be 2 raised to power 8 into x. Adjoint again we have to find. So determinant of adjoint 2i minus 3x inverse. So this was also, we have already found that 2i, determinant of adjoint b is 27 cube. So option A and D both are basically incorrect. For B and C you have to find adjoint of adjoint x. Now you don't have to find this determinant, you have to find adjoint of adjoint x, that is a matrix. So what happens? What you can say about adjoint of x? Adjoint of x is basically determinant of x into x inverse, right? So determinant, now you have to find adjoint of adjoint x. So adjoint of b can be written as determinant b into b inverse. Now in place of b you have to put this determinant x into x inverse. Adjoint of determinant x into x inverse, that is what you have to find. What will be its value? Adjoint of k into a, what is it? K raised to power n minus 1 into adjoint of a. So x raised to power 3 into adjoint of x inverse will be there. So x, determinant of x raised to power 3 will be there, and adjoint of x inverse, which will be equal to 1 upon mod x into 1 upon determinant x into x. So it will be equal to determinant of x square into x. What is determinant of x? It is 16. So this will be 16 square, that is 2 raised to power 8 into x. So option B will be correct. Now we have to again take another adjoint to obtain option C. Again of adjoint x that you have to obtain. So this part is already done. So what you have to obtain now from option B to option C? So you have to basically focus on adjoint of adjoint x. Adjoint x is already known, that is 2 raised to power 8 into x. This is 2 raised to power 8 into x. Again adjoint of Ka is basically equal to k raised to power n minus 1 into adjoint of A. This was the property. So this will be equal to 2 raised to power 8 raised to power 3 into adjoint of x. Adjoint of, here you have to put 2 raised to power 8 into x. So this will be adjoint of x. So 2 raised to power 24 will be there, and adjoint of x can be written again as determinant of x into x inverse. So this will be 2 raised to power 24. Determinant x is again 2 raised to power 4. So this is 2 raised to power 28 into x inverse, which is present in option C. So options B and C, these two are the correct ones. Moving on to the next section, that is question number 47, which comes from the house of complex numbers. It is let P, Z1, Q, Z2, R, Z3 and S, Z4 are the vertices of a trapezium in the argand plane in that order such that PQ is parallel to RS, PR is and QS intersect at M. If mod of Z1 minus Z2 is given, mod of Z3 minus Z4 is also given, and argument of Z3 minus Z1 upon Z4 minus Z is also given. So here Z1, Z2, Z3, Z4, as these are 4 vertices, Z1, Z2, Z3 and Z4, these are 4 vertices. So Z1, Z2, okay, Z1 we are putting here, Z2 here, Z3 here and Z4. Now what is given about the lengths? This mod of Z1 minus Z2 is 4 and Z3 minus Z4 is given as 10. So this is your P, this is your Q, this is R and this is S. These are the 4 points. So mod of Z1 minus Z2 is 4 and mod of Z4 minus Z3 is given to be 10. That means your PQ side is 4 and RS side is given to be 10. What more informations we are given with? It is argument of Z3 minus Z1 upon Z4 minus Z2. So Z3 minus Z1 is one vector and Z4 minus Z2 is another vector. The angle in between them is pi by 2. That means these two diagonals are actually intersecting at 90 degree. Fine. This length is 4, this length is 10. So if we consider these diagonals according to that law of proportionality, we can say that this portion to this portion will be 2:5. Similarly here also 2:5 will be there, as these sides are 4:10. So this is suppose 2a, then this is 5a, and if this is 5b, then this is 2b. If this angle is theta and this angle is phi, theta and phi, these are the two angles. So what we are left with, another option is there that is incomplete actually, but what is it in question? It is argument of Z3 minus Z2 upon Z4 minus Z3, that is given to be pi by 4. Z3 minus Z2 upon Z4 minus Z3. So what is it? Z3 minus Z2. Z3 minus Z2 is actually this vector, and Z4 minus Z3. So Z4 minus Z3 is this vector. Z4 minus Z1, these two vectors actually are at angle pi by 4. So if we try to actually extend it and join these, the angle formed here is actually pi by 4. So what we can observe, this whole length of diagonal is 7a and another length is actually 7b. So this is 2a, this is 5a, this is 2b and this is 5b. Suppose this point is also O, and suppose this point where these intersect is actually M. So what we are given, this theta and phi, theta is the angle here and phi is the angle over here. So as this angle is 90 degree, this will be also 90, and that means this angle is actually 90 minus phi. So as you can see, this MPQ in triangle MPQ, this pi by 4 and this theta is two internal angles, and that should be equal to this external angle 90 minus phi according to that exterior angle theorem. 90 minus phi will be equal to theta plus pi by 4. So from here we can get this expression that theta plus phi is actually pi by 4. This is pi by 2 minus pi by 4 is equal to pi by 4. So theta plus phi is your pi by 4. Now if theta plus phi is given, what we are reminded of one of the properties in trigonometry, that is 1 plus tan theta, 1 plus tan theta into 1 plus tan phi, this will be equal to 2. This you can all actually prove, as well as this property is used to be there as a in form of question. So 1 plus tan theta into 1 plus tan phi is equal to 2. Why we are using this tan theta and tan phi? Because expression in the given question, actually tan theta can easily be calculated. Tan theta can easily be calculated from this triangle, as this is 2a divided by 5b. So this theta can now be converted in the sides 2a by 5b, and similarly tan phi can be converted as 2b by 5a. So this is your 2b by 5a. This is equal to 2. So 5b plus 2a into 5a plus 2b, 5b plus 2a into 5a plus 2b is equal to 50ab, is equal to 50ab in the given expression. So if we try to multiply it, what will be getting? 5a into 5b, 25ab, and 2a into 2b, that is 4ab. So 29ab will be there. Along with that, 5b into 2b, 10b square, and 2a into 5a, that is 10a square. So 10a square plus b square is equal to, right side we are there with 50ab, 50ab. So 10 into a square plus b square is equal to 21ab. Now what we can also observe, that this 2a and 2b are actually perpendicular. This 2a and 2b are actually perpendicular, and this side is hypotenuse, and it is equal to 4. So from here you can see that 4a square plus 4b square is equal to 16 according to this right angle triangle. As this was right angle, 2a 2b are the two sides and hypotenuse is 4. So a square plus b square is coming out as 4. So a square plus b square is 4. If we put a square plus b square in this equation, ab will be equal to 40 by 21. So as ab is equal to 40 by 21, now what we have to actually find? We have to find area of trapezium. So area of trapezium is what? Half into diagonals multiplication. So area will be equal to half into diagonals, that is 7a into 7b. So 49 by 2 AB will be the area. For AB we have 40 by 21. So this is 1960 by 42. So this is getting converted into 1960 by 42, that is 280 by 6 or 140 by 3. So this is 140 by 3. I suppose the option given is correct, so option B is right. Now theta plus phi, we have already found that this was equal to pi by 4. This is the expression for theta and this is the expression for phi. So that is already pi by 4. So this option is also correct. If D is correct, obviously A is a wrong choice. Now for option C, that is PR plus QS. So PR is what? This 7A, and QS is what? 7B. So PR plus QS is actually 7 times A plus B. This PR plus QS is 7 times A plus B. A square plus B square is known, AB is known, so A plus B can also be found, like A plus B whole square is equal to A square plus B square. A square plus B square was 4, and 2AB will be 40 by 21. So it is 4 plus 80 by 21. So this is 164 by 21. So a plus b is under root 164 by 21. So PR plus QS, that is 7a plus b, is actually 7 under root 164 by 21, which is actually equal to 2 under root 287 by 3. 2 under root 287 by 3, but here it is given as 4, so this option C is actually wrong. So B and D options are the correct ones. Next comes from the house of differential equation. It is xy into y dash square minus x square minus y square into y dash minus xy equal to 0 represents which curve actually? Solution of differential equation, that is all we have to find. And now you can see this equation can easily be factorized. Xy into y dash square minus x square minus y square into y dash minus xy is equal to 0. So from first two terms what we can see that x into y dash, this part is common. Now you are left with y dash minus x plus here y dash will be common and y is common in fact, and y dash will be there, minus x is equal to 0. So the two factors are xy dash plus y into y dash minus x, that is equal to 0. So this part is what? This can be written as x dy by dx plus y dx. So x dy plus y dx, and the other part is y dy minus x dx is equal to 0. So this is differential of xy, this is differential of xy, and this is differential of y square by 2 minus x square by 2 is equal to 0. So either differential of xy is equal to 0, that means xy is equal to some constant, or this y square by 2 minus x square by 2, this term is also constant, suppose C2. So the correct options are xy minus c1 is equal to 0 can be one of the curves, and other curve can be x square minus y square is equal to constant. So option B will be the right choice, and a circle and ellipse, that is not possible because neither this is a circle, neither this is a circle. One of this is a rectangular hyperbola and this one is also a rectangular hyperbola. So it will represent a conic with eccentricity root 2 because these rectangular hyperbolas, they actually have this eccentricity as root 2 because their a and b are equal. So e square, which is eccentricity for them, e square 1 plus b square by a square, and a and b are equal. So e square equal to 2, and that means our options B and C are the correct ones. Now the next 6 questions are there from numerical sections, and numerical section what we have to achieve, these are some numerical value based questions. The answer will be within 2 decimal digits place. So let's try this question number 49. What is it? F 0 to 1, its domain is there and codomain is given as R, such that 0 to 1 f x raised to power 1 by k whole raised to power n minus k dx is equal to k by n for all k belonging to 1, 2, 3 up to n minus 1, where n is an odd natural number. Then we have to find integer part of fr, r equals to 1 to 99. So what you can see, if first of all we try to eliminate this fractional power, if we put x is equal to t raised to power k in this given integration, so this will be 0 to 1 f of t raised to power n minus k, and for dx it will be k into t raised to power k minus 1, which is equal to k by n as given. So k and k gets cancelled, so this is equal to f 0 to 1 integration f t raised to power n minus k into t raised to power k minus 1 is equal to 1 by n for all these 1, 2, 3 up to n minus 1. But now what we can observe actually, n minus k is there, k minus 1 is there. So one thing can be clear, that this can be converted into a binomial expansion. So if we consider this expansion ft minus t raised to power n minus 1, because sum of these two terms is equal to n minus 1. So ft minus t n minus 1, the expansion for this can be written as summation over n minus 1 c k minus 1 ft raised to power n minus k into t raised to power minus t in fact raised to power k minus 1, right. Ft minus t can be written like this. So I am putting it here, Ft minus t raised to power n minus 1 is equal to summation over n minus 1 Ck minus 1, k varies from 1 to n, Ft raised to power n minus k was there, Ft raised to power n minus k was there, and t raised to power k minus t in fact raised to power k minus 1 was there. Ft raised to power n minus k into t raised to power k minus 1. This we have already got that this is equal to 1 by n. Suppose this is equation number 1. So Ft raised to power n minus k into t raised to power k minus 1. If we consider its integration, then 0 to 1 will be applied like this, and here also 0 to 1 will be applied. So n minus 1 Ck minus 1, 0 to 1 n minus 1 Ck minus 1 Ft raised to power n minus k into t raised to power k minus 1. This part is known to you, this part is 1 by n. This you can remove because n minus 1 Ck minus 1 we have already taken as common. So n minus 1 Ck minus 1 divided by n, and minus sign was there. So minus 1 raised to power k minus 1 will be also there, and summation this, right. Fine. So this is 1 by n, summation n minus 1 Ck minus 1 minus 1 raised to power k minus 1 will be there. So 1 upon n summation n minus 1 Ck minus 1 minus 1 raised to power k minus 1, k is equal to 1 to n. You are getting all those binomial coefficients which are possible, but with alternate positive and negative sign, because first term will be positive when k is equal to 1, but when k is equal to 2 this term will get into negative. So alternate positive negative signs will be there. So the answer for this will be equal to 0, 1 by n into 0, that means answer will be 0. So 0 to 1 Ft minus t raised to power n minus 1 is coming out as 0, and this n is given to be a odd natural number. If n is odd, that means n minus 1 is your even quantity. That means this Ft minus t raised to power n minus 1, the function that is written over here, is always greater than or equal to 0. Then how an integration, definite integration in between 0 to 1 can be equal to 0 when the function is already greater than or equal to 0? Only one situation is possible, when this function Ft minus t is itself 0. In fact, Ft minus t is itself raised to power n minus 1 is 0. That means Ft minus t must be equal to 0. So function Ft is actually t, that means Fr is nothing but r. So what we have to try, we have to actually find out summation over r equal to 1 to 99, and this comes out as 4950, which is equal to r into r plus 1 divided by 2. So answer for this will be 4950. Next question is actually from again conic section. The locus of focus of a variable parabola which touches an equal parabola. Equal parabola means what? Length of latus rectum for both the parabolas will be same. So x square minus y is actually touched on origin. So the tangent will be common. X square equal to minus y. What is that diagram? For x square equal to minus y, this will be this parabola x square equal to minus y, and at origin this will be equal to y equal to 0. The tangent will be y equal to 0. So this y equal to 0 is working as a common tangent for these two parabolas. So suppose our required parabola is like this, and its focus is h comma k. We have to find the locus of this focus h comma k. For this parabola, the tangent at vertex will be like this, and this parabola is actually having a tangent y equal to 0 at 0 comma 0, because both the parabolas touch at x equal to 0 at origin. That means y equal to 0 will be the common tangent. So for our required parabola, this y equal to 0 will work as a tangent at origin. So 0 0, we are having this tangent y equal to 0, hk is our focus, we have to find this locus of focus for hk. As we know from the properties that from focus, if we draw a foot of perpendicular on any tangent, it will always lie on tangent at vertex. So if we join this, this angle will be 90 degree, because from S we are actually putting a foot of perpendicular on this tangent y equal to 0. So from S I have drawn this, suppose this is your P, and as we also know about the reflection property, if we draw this P to 0 0, that is origin, and this will be the reflection property, that means this angle will be same as this one. That means if this is theta, this will also be equal to theta. This is 90, this is theta, that means this angle will be 90 minus theta. This is 90 minus theta, this is 90. So these two added together are 180 minus theta, that means we are left with this, that is equal to theta. So SP, why these two theta are equal? Because of reflection property. So you can write this, that SOT, in fact this point is P, right, and this point suppose I am putting it as T. So SOP is equal to in fact POT, that is equal to theta. And now suppose this point is M, so we are getting SPM as also theta, angle SPM is also theta, because as these two were theta, this was 90 degree, here we are 90 minus theta, another 90 degree was there, so we are left with angle theta. So angle SPM is also equal to theta. What we can observe here, that sin theta from POS, from triangle POS, we can see that sin theta can be considered as, this length is k and here it is under root h square plus k square. So sin theta is equal to k upon under root h square plus k square. This is your sin theta. And here also again this length ms, is what? As it is given that both parabolas have equal latus rectum because of this equal parabola term, that means this ms will be equal to 1/4 of latus rectum. 1/4 of latus rectum is how much? This is equal to 1/4. So ms is your 1/4. ms can be written as k sin theta according to triangle PMS. So in triangle PMS I can say that ms can be written as k sin theta, because this length PS is k. So ms is equal to k sin theta. So k into sin theta, k into sin theta is equal to ms, and ms is 1/4. So k into k upon under root h square plus k square is 1/4. So k square upon under root h square plus k square is equal to 1/4. It is 16k raised to power 4 is equal to h square plus k square. 16 raised to power 4 is equal to h square plus k square. That means locus for this will be x square plus y square equal to 16 into y raised to power 4. That means for us lambda is what? 16 and mu is what? 2. So lambda plus 2 mu can be calculated as 16 plus 2 into 4, that is equal to 24. Next question, again it is coming from geometry, or you can say solution of triangle. Length of tangents drawn from vertices ABC of triangle in its to its incircle are 3, 4, 5 respectively. If the length of segments of tangents to the incircle which are parallel to the sides and contained within the triangle are alpha, beta and gamma, then we have to find 6 times alpha plus beta plus gamma. So first of all I am drawing a triangle with its incircle. Suppose this is vertex A, this is B, this is C. From A length is 3 and 3, from B it is 4 and 4, and from C it is 5 and 5. So BC length is suppose mentioned as A in a traditional way, AB can be considered as C and AC can be considered as B. So your A is basically 9, B is basically, the CA is B na, so B is equal to 8 and this C is equal to 7. These three are the sides for this triangle. And what about incircle? Incircle's radius is not given to us. Okay. So in this diagram only, if we can see that if we draw an altitude from here to here, and this part is mentioned as alpha, right? This part is mentioned as beta, and this part is mentioned as gamma. So in triangles, what we can observe, suppose this is point P, suppose this is D and E, then and suppose this is Q, right? So triangle ADE and triangle ABC, these two will be similar triangles because all the angles are same. This D will be parallel to BC. So all the angles angle D is equal to angle B, angle E is equal to angle C, and of course angle A is common. So that means triangle ADE and triangle ABC are similar. So what we can think, this is your 2r diameter, and the altitude suppose I am considering at HA. So this length AP divided by AQ can be considered as BC divided by DE. In fact, BC divided by D, right? So AP is what? AP is length of altitude. AQ is what? AQ is HA minus 2R is equal to BC upon DE. So BC is your A and DE is your suppose alpha as written. So A upon alpha. So from here what we can see that what was the expression, HA upon length of altitude from A upon HA minus 2R is equal to, what was the right side, it was A by alpha, A by alpha. So alpha can be considered as A into HA minus 2R upon HA, which is 1 minus 2R divided by HA. This is your alpha. For beta it will be B into 1 minus 2R upon HB. For gamma it will be 1 minus 2R upon HC. So alpha plus beta plus gamma, what will be the expression? It will be A plus B plus C minus 2R common divided into A by HA plus B by HB plus C by HC, right? What is HA? HA can be considered as 2 delta by A, where delta is its area. So A plus B plus C, that is not an issue because we are known of these values. 2R is still not known. A by, we can obviously find out because all the sides are known, so we can also calculate that R. But before that we are trying to simplify this A by HA plus B by HB plus C by HC. So HA is 2 delta by A, similarly HB will be 2 delta by B, similarly HC will be 2 delta by C. So what will be the value? It will be A square plus B square plus C square divided by 2 delta. So this 2 gets cancelled and R by delta is in fact 1 by S. So what are the values? A plus B plus C minus R by delta is 1 by S, and A square plus B square plus C square will be present, divided by S will be there. Now A, B, C are already known, we can simply find the value. So it will be A plus B plus C minus A square plus B square plus C square divided by S. Delta by S is equal to R. That is why we have put delta R by delta as 1 by S, right? Delta by S, this property was there, this formula was there, delta by S is equal to R. So we have put R by delta as 1 by S. So A, B, C are known. A, B, C are what? 9, 8 and 7. So A plus B plus C is how much? It is 24. A plus B plus C is actually 24 minus 9 square plus 8 square plus 7 square will be there, divided by S, which is again 12. So this is coming out as 24 minus 9 square, which is 81. 81 and plus 64, 145. 145 plus 49. So 194 by 12. So this is 94 by 12, and we have to find 6 into alpha plus beta plus gamma, which will be equal to 47. So 47 is the right choice. Now the next question is a function defined as mod of x minus 1. It's again mod is there, and then minus 1, then again mod. we have to find non-differentiable points. How many non-differentiable points are there for fx, and with the help of fx we have to try and find out the graphs for gx and hx. So what is the graph of fx? Mod of x minus 1. So mod of x minus 1 will be like this. It will be minus 1 and 1. And again you have to take the mod. That means this will be shifted like this. Minus 1, that means this point 0 comma 1 and everything else will be actually shifted 1 point actually downward. So it will be covered into mod of x minus 1. This will be like this, and this will be point minus 2, this will be 2, this will be 0. Fine. And now we have to take another mod, that means this is our final graph for fx. So this will be your point 1, this will be your point minus 1. We can now remove this portion. This is the required graph for fx. So how many non-differentiable points are there? This minus 2 will be a point of non-differentiability because there is a sharp kink. Minus 1 again a point of non-differentiability. 0 will be non-differentiable point. 1 and 2. These 5 points are the points where the function fx is non-differentiable. That means n1 will be equal to 5 in our case. Now gx we have to find. Gx is what? Maximum of ft we have to find within 1 unit interval. Like t is actually varying from x to x plus 1. That means we have to, for taking a value, we have to move 1 unit rightwards in between x to x plus 1, and in that interval we have to try and find out what is the maximum value of fx. So now using this, if we try to find out gx, this is your graph for fx and you have to try and find out gx. Suppose we have to find f of 0.5. So what we have to do, according to the definition, for suppose g of 0.5, what we have to do, we have to vary this t from 0.5 to 1.5, and in between 0.5 to 1.5 I have to find the maximum possible value of f. Suppose I am to draw this gx graph. What will be the situation? For g of 0.5, first of all I have to go through from x equal to 0.5 to 1.5 in this section. So 0.5 to 1.5, this will be the possible values of fx. ft will be in between this f1.5 and f2.5. So what is the value that is maximum actually achievable in this interval? That is this 1. So f of 0.5 will be equal to 1. Similarly, suppose you have to try and find out g of 2. So first of all what you have to do, you have to actually vary this t from 2 to 3 and you have to mark the maximum possible value for ft. So from 2 to 3, what you will be getting, this is your f2, this is your suppose f3. What you will be getting as maximum? You will be getting f3 as maximum. In this way you have to plot this diagram. So in right hand side, suppose we are to draw, then what we should do, for g of 0 you have to get the values in between 0 to 1, like that t will vary from 0 to 1, and now I have to find the maximum value possible for f in between 0 to 1. So that is obviously this 1 itself. So f1 will be maximum for 0, and similarly suppose you are trying 0.1, 0.2, what will be the values for x? It will be 0.2 to 1.2. So for g of 0.2, this t will vary from 0.2 to 1.2. So that means f of 0.2 to f of 1.2, what is the maximum possible value? That is again 1. So this you will be getting till x equal to 1. Now suppose you are now to find g of 1. So g of 1 will be equal to, what is the value? This t will vary from 1 to 2. So f1 to f2, what is the maximum possible value? Again this is this point only. Now when you move onwards, like 1.1, suppose you are putting g of 1.1. So what will be the value for g of 1.1? This t will be in between 1.1 and 2.1. So f of 1.1 to f of 2.1, what is the maximum possible value? F of 1.1 is this, f of 2.1 is this. What is the maximum possible value for this function? Obviously this. That means the graph will be followed till suppose 1.5 comes here. Since 1.5 to 2.5, what will be the maximum value? Suppose I have to find g of 1.5. So this t will vary from f of 1.5 to f of 2.5. So from f of 1.5 to f of 2.5, what is the maximum possible value? That is f of 1.5. But if you go on to find g of 1.6, that means your t will actually move from 1.6 to 2.6. So 1.6 is suppose here, 2.6 is here. That means the maximum value possible will be according to this graph. That means after 1.5, after this 1.5, this will again keep on increasing. This will keep on increasing because now f of 2.6 will be your value. And similarly, if you are going for 1.7, so 1.7 to 2.7, g of 2.7 will be maximum, and that's why this will keep on increasing like this. So 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, this will keep on increasing. At g of 1.5, what will be the value? It will be according to f of 1.5 or 2.5 because both of them are same. So in right hand side we are getting these 2 points and not differentiable at x equal to 1 and x equal to 1.5. Now moving on to the left side, what will happen? Suppose we have to find g of minus 0.5. For g of minus 0.5, this t will vary from minus 0.5 to plus 0.5, and in between we have to choose the maximum value possible. So from minus 0.5 to plus 0.5, what will be the maximum possible value? This will be according to these two are like f of 0.5 or minus 0.5, both are same. So we can take any one of these, but suppose we have to find minus 0.4. So what will be the minus 0.4? For minus 0.4, it will be that t will actually vary from minus 0.4 to 0.6, and that means maximum value will be obtained at 0.6. Minus 0.4 and 0.6. So you can see that f of 0.6 will be having maximum possible value. That means this way we can go till minus 0.5, till minus 0.5, that is minus half, we can go like that. So from 0 to minus half, this will be your graph. And now suppose you have to find g of minus 0.6, that t will vary from minus 0.6 to 0.4 and the maximum value will be obtained at minus 0.6 because 0.4 will be here, f of minus 0.6 will give you higher values. So again this will keep on increasing like this from minus half to minus 1, and then suppose you have to find g of minus 1.1. So what will be the range for t? It will be minus 1.1 to minus 0.1. What will be the maximum value? It will be obtained at minus 1 itself. So this will keep on continuing till minus 2. So this will again keep on following this part, that means like this till minus 5 by 2, and if you go for minus 2.6, g of minus 2.6, that means that t will vary from minus 2.6 to minus 1.6, and that means the maximum will be obtained from this portion. So this will keep on increasing like this. This way we are able to find your gx graph. In this we can see that these are the points minus 2, minus 5 by 2, minus 1 by 2, 0, and here 1 and 1.5. These are the points where this function is actually non-differentiable. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, total 7 points are there for non-differentiability. So n2 is equal to 7. Similarly, using this maximum minimum concept, you can also draw the graph for next function where we have to actually mention minimum of fx. So for minimum of fx, it is 0. What we have to do, suppose you have to find h of 0. So what will be the value for h of 0? That t will vary from 0 to 1, t will vary from 0 to 1, and the minimum value will be retained. So minimum value will be 0 itself. So it will be 0 over here. But if you go again onwards, h of 0.1 you have to calculate. So that t will vary from 0.1 to 1.1, 0.1 to 1.1, and that means minimum value retained will be at 0.1 itself. So from 0 to 0.5, 0 to 0.5, you can say that this will keep on increasing. Now if you have to find h of 0.6, what will be the value? That t will vary from 0.6 to 1.6, and that means minimum value will be obtained according to f of 1.6. So again it will keep on decreasing, and from 0.5 I can say till 1 it will keep on decreasing. Suppose you have to find vary from 1.1 to 2.1, 1.1 to 2.1, and that minimum value will be retained as 0 because f2 is actually minimum in this interval. So from 1 to 2 this will be like that only. After 2, suppose 2.1 we have to calculate h of 2.1, and the t will vary from 2.1 to 3.1, and again this part will be like this. Similarly in the left hand side what will happen? Suppose this is minus 0.5, what will happen in this interval? Now in left hand side, suppose you have to h of minus 0.1. So from 40 it will vary from minus 0.1 to 0.9. Obviously that minimum value is there at 0. So that will be retained over this period from minus 1, in fact minus 1 to 0. So this will be the portion that will be retained, like here it was. And now you have to find suppose h of minus 1.1, that t will vary from actually minus 1.1 to minus 0.1. So what will be the minimum possible value? It will be according to this one. So and from minus 1 to next, suppose you have to find minus 1.6, what will be the value? That t will vary from minus 1.6 to minus 0.6, minus 1.6 to minus 0.6, and the minimum value will be according to this graph only. So this will again go down minus 2, and suppose you have to find h of minus 2.1, that means minus 2.1 to minus 1.1, that is the part you have to focus, minus 2.1 to minus 1.1. Suppose we go on to the left of this, that means minus 3, suppose we have to mention. So minus 3, what will happen for minus 3.1? The graph will vary from minus 3.1 to minus 2.1, that will be the values for t. So what will be the minimum possible value for f? This will be according to this diagram only, like this graph will be there. So what we will be getting? We will be getting the final graph as this. So these are the points for kink, and another point will be there. So total 7 and 1, total 8 points will be there for N3. So N3 is equal to 8, N2 is equal to 7, and N1 is equal to already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 for N1, N2 is equal to 7, and N3 is equal to 8. That means answer is 20. Now question number 53, which is again from trigonometry. So under root 9 minus 8 sine 50, 8 is there, sine 50. You have to actually get rid of this under root function. 8 sine 50, what you can see, in place of 1 you can also write 2 cos 60, as you know that trigonometry is little bit of that manipulation, and that hit and trial will be obviously there. So 2 cos 60 into sine 50, suppose we are putting it here, and sine 50 can also be written as cos 40 degree. So this is equal to under root 9 minus 8 2 cos 60 degree into cos 40 degree. It will be like this, and if we put CD formula like 2 cos 60 cos 40 can also be written as cos 100 plus cos 20 degree, right? So cos 100 can be written as minus sine 10, and cos 20 can also be converted into sine 10 degree using half angle formula. So this will be equal to 9 minus 8 minus sine 10 degree plus 1 minus 2 sine square 10 degree. So this will be equal to 1 plus 8 sine 10 degree plus 16 sine square 10 degree. So you can see that under root term is actually 4 sine 10 degree plus 1 whole square. So this is equal to 1 plus 4 sine 10 degree, that is obviously a positive quantity. So we can simply tell that mod will be again positive 1 plus 4 sine 10 degree. Now you have to all do that, you have to just compare it with a plus b sine c. So a is what? A is 1, b is 4 and c is 10. So a plus b plus c is 15. So answer will be 15 for question number 53. Quite easy question, although little observation and hit and trial is involved. Question number 54, that comes from again function you can say, or you can say differentiability, but moreover here function is used. Here we are given with x square y square f of x plus y minus fx minus fy is equal to 3 into x plus y fx into fy for all xy belongs to R. Then we have to find this value of fk plus mod of fk, and k is varying from minus 3 to 5. So first of all, what we should try to find out the function fx. But for finding function fx, what we should do, we should try to minimize that number of variables involved, because in this case x and y, these two are actually involved. We should try to reduce them first, like only x is there, only y is there, then only we can comment easily about the nature of fx. So what is happening, the left hand side is actually 0, nothing to write actually, and in right hand side what we will get, 3 into x into f of x into f of 0. So as you can see that fx is not identically 0, that means we cannot say that fx is equal to 0, that means your f0 must be equal to 0. So f0 is equal to 0, that is for sure. Next, if f0 is there, how can we again obtain f0? If we put y as minus x, what we will be getting? We will be getting x raised to power 4 f0 minus fx minus f of minus x is equal to, here we will be getting 0 because y is minus x, so this bracket turns out into 0. So fx plus f of x, f of minus x is actually f of 0, which was 0, that means fx is a odd function, that is also clear. So y is equal to 0 has given us f0 equal to 0, y equal to minus x has given us that fx is an odd function. Now if we put y is equal to x in the given expression, what we will get? We will get x square into x square, that is x raised to power 4, but in bracket there will be one problematic term, that is f of 2x, minus 2 times fx will be there, minus fx is equal to 3 times x plus y, that is 2x into fx whole square, into this fx into fx, that is fx whole square. So fx whole square will be also present. So what we can see, this x4 and here it is x cube, 6x. So x cube will be here, f of 2x will be there, minus 2 of fx will be there, is equal to 6 into f of x whole square. Now we put x as 2x in the given expression, and because 2x was involved and we are not known of any other equation in 2x. So how we should inculcate that 2x into our frame? We should actually put 2x in the original equation, and in place of y we will put minus x. Then it will be converted into 2x and x expression. So what we will do? We will put x will be substituted by 2x and y is substituted by minus x. This substitution will do. So x square is in fact 4x square into x square will be there. In place of y we are putting minus x, and here we will have f of x, because x is 2x and y is minus x, minus f of 2x. So it is f of 2x minus f of minus x, and in right hand side it will be 3 into x, and f of 2x into f of minus x, f of 2x into f of minus x, this will be present. So one equation in 2x and x was here, and here also we are actually available with this 2x and x. So what is the expression? 4x square into x raised to power 4. So this is 4x cube in fact, because this x gets cancelled. So 4x raised to power 4 and here x, so 4x cube into f of x minus f of 2x minus f of minus x is equal to here 3 into f of 2x into f of minus x. So in last expression, if we put f of minus x as minus fx, as we have already got here, in this fx plus f of minus x was equal to 0. So what we will be getting, 4 into x cube, here it will be fx plus f of 2x into f of x is equal to minus 3 into f of 2x into f of x. That is all what we will be getting. So we are here with the two equations in f of 2x and f of x. One was present over here and another function is present over here. So if we solve these two equations, we are getting, after solving, fx is equal to x cube. So if fx is equal to x cube, now you can easily find out what is the function. So fk will be equal to k cube, and mod of fk is actually depends on sign of k. So what we are getting? We are getting f of minus 3 plus mod of f3, f of minus 3 plus mod of f3. That will be equal to minus k cube minus 3 cube plus 3 cube. That means it will be equal to 0. So in negative section, you can see that for f of minus 3 plus mod of f3, it will be equal to 0. Similarly, f of minus 2 plus mod of f2, that is again equal to 0. Similarly, for minus 1 plus mod of f of minus 1, it is again equal to 0. All these terms are equal to 0, but in positive section we will be getting some values like for 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So summation will be equal to, in fact, f0 plus mod of f0 plus f1 plus mod of f1, that is in fact summation 2k cube from k is equal to 1 to 5. So what will be the result? 2 summation k cube from k is equal to 1 to 5. So 2 into 15 square, because summation k cube can be written as n into n plus 1 by 2 whole square. So k was basically varying from 1 to n. So here n is 5, so we have put this 2 into 15 square, which is equal to 450. So the correct answer for this will be 450. So that is all about the video solutions of paper 1 for mathematics portion. We will next move on to the paper 2 portion. Thanks all.